watching Capitol View, Sunday morning talk focused on the political scene in Arkansas.
All right, welcome back to Capitol View. We are rejoined by Senator John Boozman. Wanted to kind of pick up something we had after the break talking about immigration. One of your colleagues, Senator Ted Cruz from Texas, earlier in the week said that Congress should pass a short-term spending bill that essentially blocks the president's immigration orders. He said, quote, through funding for the Homeland Security and Justice Departments. That's part of that poll you're talking about with that Cromnibus, I think that was the term you used. Yes. Some people think, Homeland Security should be funded through March. Others say, let's do this right away in January. I know we're kind of getting to the nuance, but that's really where the rubber meets the road. What's kind of your feel there? Well,
I think some are calling it and basically saying we're going to go ahead and fund everything but Homeland Security right now, okay, and shut it down. The problem with that is the president's going to veto that. And so we can do that. That's largely symbolic because the president is going to veto that. We know it. He said it. And so we can do that and take the time to do that, or we can go ahead and then actually fund government. I don't want a government shutdown. I'm not going to vote for a government shutdown. And I think almost all of my colleagues are in that, agree with that.
So how long does Homeland Security get funded through? What's
well, I think the proposal that they've got going in the House that they're trying to get done is for a matter of months. And the reason that to me it's so common sense to do that is the playing field is so much better then because we'll have so many more conservative votes. Right now, Senator Reid, controls the Senate. He's the majority leader. He decides what comes on the floor. He'll keep his guys in line. They simply aren't going to accept this. In fact, in this case, the president, it's not going to get passed in the Senate, so the president wouldn't even have to veto it.
Right.
But come early January, when Republicans have control of the Senate, then, we'll be able to dictate what comes on the floor, and I think we'll actually have the votes, to get these things done. The president then would veto it, and we'll have to deal with that. But the playing field is going to be so much better in a matter of a month or so. Okay,
so the likelihood that Homeland Security gets funded through at least a few months of 2015, you feel is pretty strong?
I think that's very strong.
Okay. Well, kind of fast forward to January.
Again, I think that's the route to go because we'll have such a better playing field, again, a month from now.
Okay. Talk to me about January 2015 and what essentially the Senate looks like. Obviously, we know the increase in Republican majority now in the Senate with Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Aside from this discussion of how to fund the government and maybe dealing with the president related to his immigration action, what else would you like to see get done?
Well, the thing that I'm excited about is that the Senate's going to go back to working the way that it's worked in the past, except for the last several years under Senator Reid's control. And what I mean by that is people ask me, John, I was in the House for
up or down
several
votes.
Exactly, what's the difference, in the House and the Senate? Well, unlimited debate, you get to talk a lot, and we've got a lot of guys that like to talk, but also the ability to put amendments to bills, throw things out on the floor, if I've got a good idea, or maybe you think it's a bad idea, but I've got an idea and I throw it out there, let's get these things voted on. Let's get it back into committees, where a subcommittee works on it first, amends it, full committee, they work on it, amend it, the full House, the full Senate, conference committee, all of those things make it such you don't have these unintended consequences from these 2,000-page bills that are just thrown out there that hadn't been in committee, and you get 24 hours.
You're hopeful for a more functional Senate in the traditional sense of the word. As far as legislation goes, do you see anything being pushed, or is it more or less limiting what the president can get done over the last 2 years?
When you do that, when you do it that way, then you're going to get a lot more legislation pushed. The House has passed, several hundred bills. Some of those were just show votes and this and that, but a lot of those bills were jobs bills that had good bipartisan support. So I'd very much like to see those thrown out. Let's amend them, let's make them better. Let's go through the process. But I think there's a lot of things that we can get done.
While we got time here, a couple quick hitters here. Colette Honorable, who leads the Arkansas Public Service Commission, is still waiting to be approved for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. I know you've spoken on behalf of that happening.
I had the privilege of testifying for her on Thursday, and she's got a great story to tell. And
is it going to happen?
We can be very proud of her as people of Arkansas. Well, it's going to happen in the sense that everybody's that I've talked to, and I've talked to a bunch of folks on that committee, making sure that things were going in the right direction. They're very excited about her. So I think she's going to get through committee, with a very favorable vote. The problem is just in the next week or so, finding the time, and Senator Reid will determine this, to get it done.
So if it doesn't get done now, do you think there's any drama related to it happening in January with the new Congress? So it's just a matter of when at this point.
It's just a matter of when. She's, like I say, she's a great story, and we can be very, very proud of her.
Absolutely. And the defense authorization, you wanted to kind of touch on, what that means going forward?
Well, defense authorization is the big bill that controls military pay. It controls everything related to the military. It's always done, every year. And so we're working really hard to get the glitches out of that so that we can have the certainty, not only for our soldiers in uniform as far as their pay and things like that, but just the certainty as we move forward for our leaders. Again, how can you plan if you're 2 or 3 months into your budget cycle, and you don't even know what your budget is? And where the money's going to be divided. So it's really important, especially in the world that we live in today.
Sure, and I know you've been back at work for a few months now. How are you feeling?
I'm doing great. I'm really blessed, and appreciate the people of Arkansas. I had lots of prayers when I was pretty sick, and those prayers were answered, and I'm just doing great and feeling really good. I
know you've been in Congress for a while, and it'll be 6 years in the Senate come 2016. Do you still want to do it, or do you know yet at this point?
No, I'm going to run again. I would very much like the people of Arkansas to allow me to, which is such a tremendous honor, to represent them again for another 6 years.
Okay. Not forming any campaign stuff yet. It's still early for that. People can't handle ads yet, right?
Believe me, I'm right. I'm with them totally.
Okay.
And the sad thing is these cycles get so much longer and stuff. And, it's just a mess.
Absolutely.
But my concern is, getting our sleeves rolled up, and I, am totally committed. And the good news is, I think that the average member of Congress on both sides really is committed to trying to get some things done in the next 2 years.
All right. Senator John Boozman, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll wrap up this edition of Capitol View. I'm David Goins. You're enjoying Capitol View on